The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the host and guest and do not reflect the opinions or policies of the station, its owners, or its advertisers. All content should be considered editorial in nature. Listener discretion is advised. Well, good morning and welcome to the Carolina Cabinet. I'm Peter Pappas. I'll be your host this morning. We're proud to be the only homegrown conservative talk radio show in the region, and we know this is the smartest hour of radio. Our job is to give a voice to the conservatives of Fayetteville, Cumberland County, and beyond. This morning in the Cabinet, we welcome my dear Laura Musler. Welcome, welcome. As my co-host, my sole co-host today on a Labor Day.
You just have to count on me.
I do count on you so very much. And over to my right, Tisha Waddell, running for Fayetteville City Mayor.
That is correct.
She's just a glutton for punishment over here. So, look, we're gonna dive in. We appreciate you tuning in and spending time this morning. Please take a moment to like, share, or follow us on Facebook, or find us at thecarolinacabinet.com. You can find links to all of my shows and all the other stuff. So don't go far. We'll be right back.
A conservative local radio talk show that you're not afraid to tell your friends about. The Carolina Cabinet, land of the free thinkers and talk show of the brave.
And welcome back. Good morning. That was a very short little intro. We're missing Pastor Josh.
Yeah,
so,
no good news.
No good news. There is good news to talk
always
about.
Good news,
There's always good news.
Always.
But, it just...
None from Pastor Josh.
I'm missing my weekly dose of churchin' if he's not in here. I get 3 5-minute sermon from him.
Okay.
Weekly. So...
do you go to a church?
I belong. I'm Greek Orthodox.
Okay.
No, that wasn't the question.
Yeah.
Do you go?
Well, that's for sinners. Okay? That's where the sinners go to get... No. So I'm a Greek Orthodox. I was baptized Catholic, Greek Orthodox by, I guess, trade. And then I even go to Pastor Josh's church once in a while just to listen because I like the way he puts stuff together,
Okay.
And sometimes he looks right at me if he's so I know I'm in trouble. But so last week or so, what you been up to, Laura?
I had a bad week.
Yeah.
My dog of 17 years, Peanut, whom I love, who was with me through the death of my son, my kids graduating from high school, all of it. I had to it was the worst night of my life. He ended up falling down and he could no longer walk real well. And I knew I've had to do it. I've known I've had to do it for a while, but I've just put it off.
Yeah,
but when he fell down and he wasn't doing well, he cried all night long and I just held him or whatever. As soon as I called the vet in the morning and I'm hysterically crying and I'm like, I have to put my dog down. Mm-hmm. He immediately sensed that I was going to do that. And he became calm. I wrapped him in a blanket. He just laid on me. Mm-hmm. It was horrible.
It's never fun. I said before we came on, I've had to put them down, and I might be a big, but I can't do it alone.
It was just weird because all night long he was barking and crying and moaning and stuff like that, and I knew it was coming. But I called It was strange. It was the strangest thing. It was like he knew, Mom, you're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He calmed down. He fell asleep in my arms where all night long he'd been fussing and fighting. And then as soon as I made the decision and made the call and said, we'll be there shortly, he just passed out right in my arms and it was very, very peaceful.
Yeah. Well, sorry to have you go through that. But
absolutely.
They're in our lives for a reason.
Yeah.
And they're up there talking to all the old previous pets like,
my son is looking out for
this
him.
One talks about you all the time,
Yeah.
So there was a meme going around Facebook about when they get over the Rainbow Bridge, they're talking about, you're so-and-so. I heard so much about
Right.
So I don't have much to report. It was kind of quiet last week. I didn't get into too much trouble.
Surprise.
Took my mom to some appointments for her, whatever. And
did you say surprise?
Yeah. Well, yeah, because normally I'm getting in trouble left and right.
Well, you heard what I said when I came in. You look so friendly. Why such backlash?
I came into the party. What you've witnessed is, I ran for city council out from nowhere. I just popped up, right? Mm-hmm. Like Candyman. And I made a few friends in GOP, and I made plenty of not so friends.
Yeah.
But no matter what, I was consistently myself, and like my father would say, head-on collision, Yeah. And that's just what I've done, and I haven't really. But what's funny is 3 years in now, a lot of people have approached me like, I really didn't like you in the beginning, but You're okay.
Do you know how many times I've heard that about myself before? I didn't like you at first, and usually it's tied to what somebody else has said or thought about me, not what they've experienced of me. Yeah. Right. And I just smile. Like at this point, I'm like, okay, well, now how do you feel?
I have found that as a grown-up, like I'm 57 years old, so, but as a grown-up, people tell me about people all the time. If you're forming your opinion based off on what somebody else told you, then you are not a grown-up. You belong back in high school.
Because that's so high school.
That's exactly right.
It's
Yeah.
so
How about
school.
you form? Okay, I took your information. That's great. I'm going to leave an open mind, and I'm going to treat a person based on the way they treat me.
Right.
Your personal experience may be something that you did or whatever, and that's not my responsibility. So I'm always...
Laura, I have to admit, you're one of the most mature friends I have. Not
I think
age.
that's why we get along.
I'm talking about like emotional.
Are you kidding? We're not friends.
Yeah, we're not.
Who are you?
We're not friends. I don't even know you. But you know, Peter, one of the things that you said earlier that I can really relate to is that it's sort of my friend calls me WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get, right? So it's like you say what you mean and you mean what you say, and you're not angry and you're not mad. You're just forthcoming, and people are so accustomed to sort of things that are packaged in a way that makes them feel good.
Political answers.
Politically
correct.
Yeah,
and that is.
And I don't know how to do that.
Yeah. Well, and it's not that you want to hurt anybody's feelings.
No, you don't.
It's there's a conflict about certain things that's going on in the city, and it's like, well, that's where the problem in our city is.
Right.
That's why things
and
are
you
like
have
that.
to just call it what it is.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that you think that a person is bad or that you're just looking at the process and it's not working. And if you're in the process and you're not trying to change it, you're part of what's not working.
That's right.
Well, and I've discussed so I want to go back. You're like one of the most mature friends of mine. Like you have the most emotional IQ of anybody I know lately.
Well, thank you.
Because you've gone across and tried to mend and conciliate with people that, in my opinion, I wouldn't put out with a cup of gasoline.
That's what we're supposed to do.
That's right.
And God bless you for doing it. You're a stronger woman. Well, of course, stronger woman than me. But,
I would hope so.
Stronger person than me.
Where's this going?
What are you not telling me, Peter?
I assure you, this is a cisgendered male you're looking at. So, and I think that's the word the kids call it. So, Tisha?
Tisha?
Oh, I'm so
Close enough. No, don't apologize.
And
I'm
I've
only
watched your
correcting
show so
you.
many times.
Yeah, I'm only correcting you because if my husband watches this and sees that I let Tisha go, he's going to, chastise me.
Because he doesn't get away with it?
Oh, no, he hates when people call me Tisha.
Sorry. All right. Sorry, Mr. Tisha.
No, it's
Mr. Tisha, hello.
Tisha, sorry.
Let me tell you what my husband said the other day that had me. We were walking in Food Lion, and we walked in, and he goes, when you become the president of Fayetteville, and I almost fell in the aisle.
He sounds very politically astute.
He's just a funny guy. So even when he's frustrated about the name, it's all in good fun.
Look, he can be the first gentleman. We got to be nice to him.
That's right.
He's always going to be my first gentleman.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
As he should be.
How long y'all been married?
We've been married for. I'm going to give you. Listen. Okay. So I asked somebody. Wait. I'm going to tell you the answer.
Okay.
But I asked somebody that question the other day, and I think that they didn't want to tell me that this was maybe their second or third wife. So the person said to me, "All my life." I said, "That's a great answer." So from now on, I'm going to say all my life. But we've been married for 13 years. We've known each other for 25 years.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
He's been my best friend forever.
Good. Well, one of these days when I get grown up, I might, find somebody.
Take your time.
Yeah.
I'm
It's no
taking my
hurry.
time, believe me.
No
He's
hurry.
taking his time.
I'm taking my time and doing the interviews, but they're just not working out. So,
Extensive interviews from what I hear.
it's okay. All right, Tisha. So
What you got for me?
what in the last? So we just going over what have you done the last week or so? Have you vacation or?
So in the last week, let's see, everything's going by at such a fast pace right now. I can tell you what I did the last 3 days.
Okay. Hey, that's good.
I slept.
That girl. Okay.
I slept for the last 3 days. I did some housework. I cooked my husband the first meal that I've probably cooked in 2 months.
Okay.
Because we've been eating out because I just haven't had time. I did some laundry. I did normal people stuff over the last 3 days.
So you still do that stuff?
Absolutely.
Wow, that's crazy. I just thought all you political muckety mucks, you're just out there, got maids
I don't have any of that. And my kids moved out, so I don't even have them to be like, go do this. Yeah, so it's me. But no, before that I've been filling out the candidate surveys.
Okay.
Which I understand the reason for all of the candidate surveys, but I'll tell you what, when you have 12 of them in your inbox and you're committed to answering every single question, it takes up a lot of your time.
As having run, I understand that they come at you, but I've never seen. So usually I would get from the chamber and from the Board of Realtors, and
haven't gotten one from the Board of Realtors.
You haven't gotten that one yet?
No, it's my no.
Okay, all right. Well, so I mean, just traditionally, you'd get a couple
the
of the
Observer does it.
The Observer would.
So I just finished one from Up and Coming. A citizen sent me 20 questions a couple of weeks ago, and I was committed. He sent it to everybody. I was committed to making sure I answered those. They're coming from lots of different places. I also attended a forum, which I was so disappointed. It was a forum for districts 1, 2, and I think 9. And
NAACP on Saturday?
Yes, and the turnout,
like 3 people showed up.
In terms of candidates, I was just scratching my head. You don't have to, listen, let me tell you, you don't have to necessarily be a part of a group in order to come and show up and speak to that group. I just thought it was so disrespectful, the absence of how many candidates were not there. And it just really, it was mind-boggling. It was mind-boggling for me. But again, there are like 25,000 forums going on, so I guess maybe people are picking and choosing.
Wait a minute, to play devil's advocate, like I always do. It is Labor Day weekend, the last summer. And if you have children or...
Yeah, because I was getting ready to say you're running for office, and some things you sacrifice.
I do agree. I agree wholeheartedly. However, as a mom, I was at one point a single mom, and getting back to school or whatever, and we plan our Labor Day weekend. That is our last hurrah.
The last hurrah.
Right.
Yeah.
So if I had decided to run and I still had small kids at home, I would have to weigh children are only small ones.
Think about this, though. Do you think
send a statement?
Yes.
So that organization can read a statement.
I do agree. 150%.
Acknowledge the people that are putting this together.
Right.
Because, just because NAACP does it every cycle doesn't mean it's easy.
Right.
And they got poor Crystal Edmonds always running these things.
Right.
And I serve with her on human relations, so I know her, and it's like they go to the well every time for the same people.
And it's unfortunate when you can't even be bothered to say, here's what I have going on.
Right.
And I can't say that they didn't, but I can just say that I didn't hear that. And then we also had, candidates who showed up very late and then offered no apology. So I can't imagine sitting down at a table 15 minutes late and not apologizing to the people who have been waiting on me to show up.
It lends a little bit of insincerity to some of the field of people who are running right now. I mean, look, we have 10...
Or arrogance.
10 mayoral candidates.
Can we share the names? I'm just joking.
I don't even, at this point, I wouldn't even remember them to be able to tell you.
I don't even know who they were. Like, I watched maybe 10 minutes of it, and then I tried to fast forward thinking maybe more people would... Nothing. And it was 3 people. The format, I think, they were asking one question and then going down.
It was mind-numbing.
Yeah, it
was. And and not to disparage, the organization that put it on. I think that the mind-numbing part was the level of the quality of the answers. You can be, if you don't have something new to add, just be very brief with your answer. I went back. Listen, I did some self-reflection. I was watching an old council meeting that I was in one day, and I after I turned it off, I went into my husband. I was like, I just wanted to jump through the back in time and tell myself to shut up. I did. Why are you talking about this for so long? Shut up.
Yeah. So you watch your own tape sometimes.
I do because you have to learn from what you did well and what you didn't do well.
I agree.
So I will shut up this next go round.
Well, you speak to when it's necessary, and I think during the NAACP forum last cycle, it was 8 of us up there for county commissioner.
Okay.
6, I don't know, however many, and there was a question. I just said 1, 2, done. I just passed the mic. I was like, I'm done. And I remember seeing Kirk look at me like, that's it.
That's all you got? Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to sit there and pontificate on what. I don't need to fill airtime.
Right. And the people in that room are pretty smart. They know what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
You have to rate the crowd. That's what I just having a conversation with somebody. If you go to a political crowd, have tell the truth. Don't tell these stories and go off on these tangents because they don't care.
Work.
What are you going to do? How are you going to fix it? What's the problem? How are you going to fix it? Thank you very much. Next.
Know the silo of the office of which you're applying.
Correct.
So you need to know what city council can and can't. Don't bring up DNC
I'm going to take care of that sheriff.
Yeah.
What? Huh?
Yeah,
Why would you? Yeah.
Yeah, stay in your lane.
That's right.
I mean, you're my councilman. I want you to get my trash picked up, my lights on. Well,
keep me
the
safe.
Street lights on.
Keep me safe.
The speed bumps, and that's about. I mean, I know we do more things.
And parents isn't it the city responsibility to parent our children though?
Yeah. So that's our.
You're making me scratch my head.
That's our favorite question we like to ask. So
well,
but
let me say this, because I think that what the city should be doing is making it easier for people to parent their children. And the way that the reason that I say that, we are responsible for bringing economic development opportunities into our city, right? Mm-hmm. I think we need to start tying some of these incentives to bringing in companies that pay better wages.
Hello, thank you. That's what
Right, we need to bring in companies that pay better wages. We also need to bring in companies that promote work-life balance, because there are companies that exist who are trying to make sure that their employees have a home life as well. Mm-hmm. It is hard to raise your kids if you're spending 80 hours a week at work trying to take care of your family. You can't take care of your family if all you're doing is working to provide for your family. And we have a lot of one-parent households. So it is very difficult for people. We are not making it easy for our citizens to take care of their families. And then all of these social ailments pop up. And when they pop up, we're expected to be able to provide solutions to these social ailments. But that's not our lane. Mm-hmm. That's not our lane. We can support organizations that do that work. Great organization, Fayetteville Urban Ministry. They've got the Find a Friend program where they've got mentorship. And then you've got Kevin Brooks, who's got his organization. And these people have been working in these spaces for the better part of decades upon decades. Support the people that do the work. Offer the funding to the people that do the work, and measure the results.
That's the key.
That's
measure
the part
results.
We're forgetting. So let's go back to economic development for just a moment. We have the Fayetteville Cumberland Economic Development Company, or is it company or commission?
Corporation
Whatever,
or
corporation.
something like
okay.
that,
Robo's running that. We know Robert Van Giens. But is it, I would prefer to leave it up to them to help attract, and then the city council and county commission to fund them and say.
Well, what we need to do, though, is provide parameters around what type of industry we want to attract.
Yeah, that's
Right. And I think one of the things that's lacking right now, I think Robert is doing an excellent job at bringing some industry in. Mm-hmm. However, when we look at the industry that's coming in, the number one question that I have to ask when I'm surveying our community is how is it benefiting the residents in our community? And I think what we've been doing so far is making sure that we are increasing the corporate tax base, but not necessarily increasing economic opportunity for our citizens. And so how that plays out is, yes, you're bringing in more corporate taxes, but you're not bringing in income-producing opportunities for the residents. So as an example, and I talked about this briefly in a community watch meeting, Amazon's being touted as a huge win, right? Amazon, it's a win if you're looking at the corporate tax base.
Right.
It's not a win if you're looking at residents getting money in their pockets. If they're paying $18.50 an hour and they're capping their people at 24 hours a week, that's about $24,000 a year. That's nothing.
Well, let's expand that. So Amazon, yes, it's a big corporation. We get the property taxes and we get the personal property tax of all their equipment and trucks and everything, but the money is recycling in our community.
Right.
What we need is a what you call a base economic multiplier job. We need a manufacturer that sends their goods elsewhere to bring cash back
into our community.
That's how we can.
But we also need to make sure that we are creating jobs, sustainable jobs for our citizens, because if we are not creating high-paying wage opportunities for our citizens, we still have a poor community. And when you have a poor community, your crime rate is higher, your schools suffer. Like all of the things that we're aggressively working, trying to figure out, we're trying to do that because we're poor. Our community is poor.
We're still tier 1.
But we're also lacking a foundation of faith in our community. We're not really talking much about what do you believe? What is your ethical foundation? And when you lack that, and we can't mandate religion, right? But we can most certainly, we could try, but that would be an awful idea. That'd be an awful idea. But what we can do is we can have a governing body that at least upholds ethics, has an ethical standard. Because my grandparents used to say the fish rots from the head. So when you see your community acting out maybe that's a reflection of the fact that its governing body can't quite get it together and is leading unethically. So those are the types of things that I think about when I think about what is going to happen once I'm sworn in as Fayetteville's next mayor, what the workload looks like for me. And it's not as simple as I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. It's how are we holistically and collaboratively going to change the tide in our community?
Yeah, there is no one. I mean, you're only one of 10.
And not only that, I'm one of 200,000+.
Right.
So
it's
look
more
to
of
your
a,
governing
you have
body.
to facilitate it.
It's
not a directive.
That's
I'm going to do. I'm going to. It's
That's
not a lot of I.
There's no I in this.
It really isn't. So do you want to? Did we give her a proper bio intro?
We did not give
we
her a
did
bio
not.
intro.
So we just started.
That's all right.
See,
you can
that's
intro me.
So, all right. So Laura, you know Tisha a little bit.
A little bit.
She
yes.
might. I mean, she caused a big problem for you.
Oh, that's
you
okay.
know,
I love
having
her
guests at
anyway.
your house. How dare you? So
Speaking of which, let's
Christmas.
Yeah, we're going to clarify this
Okay.
right now. So, Laura, thank you first of all for inviting me into your home. I really appreciate it. It was National Night Out, people. National Night Out, which is a time where anybody should want to interface with anybody who's seeking to represent them,
Right.
regardless. Secondarily, I am unaffiliated, and I always have been, which means I'm not the devil to Republicans. I'm just a girl who sits in the middle and tries to figure out what everybody thinks, how everybody feels, and determine balanced solutions. I'm not a Democrat. I never have been. Thirdly, I've known you for the better part of 2 years. This was not a random come to my house. This was, we've met each other. We like each other. I'm having some friends stop by. I brought my goddaughter with me. She ate all your little snacks. I mean, like, we came by and we were friendly. And I spent less time at the table interfacing politically than I did out on your patio talking with Miss Pruitt about recipes.
Right.
So this was, you guys you two people who are making a big to-do about nothing, chill out, and then go back and look at your YouTube video where you did exactly what you accused Laura of having done, which is had an unaffiliated candidate speak to your Republican representation.
So, Tisha, we'll just sum this up. I usually say every other episode, I say, somewhere, it takes a village, but somewhere the village is missing its idiot. And I think I've identified a couple of them.
Okay.
So,
you said it, not me.
I won't hold back
say it either.
because some people in this community don't deserve safe quarter when it comes to how their behavior is.
Because just be nice. Just be nice.
Just shake. See, what I think somebody complimented me for shaking somebody's hand that they thought I had to be. I said, look, that's the world we live in. You shake hands, you move on.
Yeah.
I don't have to hang out with, but
because I'll tell you, those parents who whose children have been affected by these mass murders, particularly what just happened at Ascension Catholic School, I guarantee you they're not sitting around a table trying to figure out whose mom was a Republican and whose dad was a Democrat. I can guarantee you that.
Ma'am.
So we got to get over that.
But mine was a friendly. Mine was not even a Republican event.
Yeah.
Now,
we were just chilling.
That's right. Do I have primarily Republican friends? Well, I mean, yes. But however, I have other people that are.
Well, that's what makes us unique in our party, and not our party. I think just in our circle, I guess, is that we interface with our neighbors. I don't care.
Yeah.
Right.
It shouldn't matter.
And God forbid you talk to a Democrat.
Right.
Like it's some hellworthy. And like, again,
or an unaffiliated.
Or an unaffiliated.
Or serve on a committee that is not, what a couple people think is politically correct. But
I was listening to Ben Shapiro for part of my drive today, and he was talking about there's a trend now in the Republican Party where what's happening here with us, like how Republican are you, the litmus test, and how and we're going to hurt. Republicans will hurt themselves by allowing that to fester and grow, to further fragment, and we won't be able to.
But that's why unaffiliates are the largest growing designation in our state, because a lot of us are coming to the conclusion that party politics is more damaging than helpful. And it does make an easy identifier to be able to see what a person stands for. But when you're looking for an elected official, let me tell you, the quickest way for you to get bamboozled is to select an elected official based upon their party, because they lie.
100%.
And they will go. They do, and they know the one thing that most elected officials understand is how to get elected. And they know that if your area is primarily Democrat and they want to be elected, they cannot be registered Republican, and they will change that party registration, and it does not change their mindset. So, you got to get to know people, talk to them, and see what they're really about.
And at this level, too, it's, party really, like, I've been a Republican since 18 years old. Okay, that's just that's what I registered, and that's what I grew up on Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all right. We'll have you in the unaffiliated.
Well, absolutely. Well, and the unaffiliated growth, I believe, is more complicated than just people don't want to identify with the party. They don't want to identify with anything in modern times, like church attendance. They don't want to go to a certain church.
Yeah, I'm still a Christian.
You're a Christian, but like it's non-denominational churches now. It's not Catholic.
No,
or
I understand
Greek Orthodox.
what you mean.
It's that people don't
They're
belong.
bucking systems. We're bucking systems.
What about Kiwanis clubs and Lions clubs? It's all like gray hair people and up. It's no more younger guys like my producer over here. It's just you got to be old.
Right.
No, I'd like to shout out to First Baptist on Moore Street, though. I'm just saying.
Okay. Well, that's where you attend.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So
I'm going to open my water. It's going to make a sound.
That's okay.
But it's water, y'all.
So I tell you what, we're coming up on. We're just going to take a short pretend little break just so I can cut it. So let me just do this.
Are you going to say that on the radio? A short pretend little break?
Yeah. I mean that's fine. It's whatever. Yeah. So, all right. Calm down.
Have another cup of coffee and get fired up with the Carolina Cabinet, Eastern North Carolina's smartest conservative morning talk show.
How dare you?
Don't get caught with your pants on fire by repeating what you've heard on other stations. You are listening to Eastern North Carolina's truth-telling morning show, the Carolina Cabinet.
I'm still not tired of that intro.
Really?
I was digging in the archives and just found it.
Yeah.
What, did we fall off? What happened?
I just reset the camera.
Oh.
But it's coming
Okay.
back. Don't worry.
It's coming. Yeah, it'll find me. Okay. Hey, I'm back.
It's at the roof. You're not tall enough.
Yeah, I'm not tall enough for that to see me.
Raise your hand up.
Okay, so Laura, why don't you go ahead and introduce Tisha Waddell and tell me what you know about her and what we need to know about her.
Well, I met her while I was running for office, and I just fell in love with her immediately. Oh, thank you. Don't tell anybody. She also has a podcast that I was on, and
the Upsound.
Yes,
yeah.
I watch it weekly, Thursday morning,
Thank
9:30.
you.
Yes,
I didn't know if I could say the name.
Absolutely.
I'll say it.
Okay, yeah. You go.
Look, so I feel like
Peter's one of our best commenters.
We balance, each other out, and it's not a Democrat-Republican thing. It's reasonable talk.
Stop calling me a party person. I'm
I
unaffiliated.
know, well, Mr. Floyd certainly is.
He is definitely a Democrat.
He is definitely a Democrat.
Definitely. He definitely is.
I love that man. So, but anyway,
I
go
do
ahead,
know
Laura.
that she served on the Fayetteville Urban Ministries
Okay.
board.
Yes, I've been on that board now for 5 years. I'm in my 6th year.
Wow, see, that's dedication right
It
there.
is.
See,
It
a lot
is.
of people get involved in things when it's time to run for office, but she's actually been involved for a very long time.
Yeah,
But
since
I'm,
before I left office the last time.
right,
Yeah.
there you go. So
I can stick it out.
So I'm going to ask the first question.
Go ahead.
Name a single metric that you could ask residents to judge you by after 1 year.
A single metric that I could ask residents to judge me by in 1 year. That's good. So the metric that I think that I'd ask residents to judge me by would be my ability to help our council gain more than 6 votes, at least like 7, 8 votes consistently in our process of making decisions, because that will demonstrate that I am not a mayor who's just looking for the bare minimum to get my way, but I'm really trying to build consensus across the city, because that's important.
Agreed.
That's
Agreed.
important.
Because I watch them and they make these decisions, and I would love for a clarity point is to be able to have a searchable database where you can find out how people voted on. You have to actually go back and watch these.
That's one of my things, girl.
Oh my gosh,
I do. I want people to have to. I want us to have to summarize our votes. I think that when it comes to major, not every vote, but I think that the major votes, when we're talking redevelopment, we're talking rezoning, when we're talking hot ticket items, we should have to provide a summary of our vote, and it should be on a dashboard where people don't have to watch a 4-hour meeting to know what happened.
Yes.
I'll make you all G14 classified.
Okay.
Qualified here in a minute. As chairman of government relations at the chamber, we are working on political candidate and elected scorecards, report cards.
Okay.
Nice.
So, and of course, it's going to be as it pertains to the business community for us, but there is a data source for it.
Okay.
That we're going to be using to make it easier for us to. But that'll just be a business scorecard. It won't really be. But I think
why can't the city do it too, though?
I think it'll be a good barometer of how that person votes in general, because most everything you vote for or against on council is going to be somewhere related to business.
Absolutely. And I think when you look at this last vote that took place in terms of College Lakes with the 7-Eleven, I think that every single person that voted, whether they voted yes or no, should have to articulate why they voted the way that they voted. I think when you look back historically, when we have those types of votes, like with dismissed charities, there should be some articulation. We had a council member, the mayor pro tem, she abstained from her vote. Explain why you abstained, because there should not be anything that's happening that we cannot look back at as a community and understand your motivation behind what you did, because you don't work for you work for us.
Exactly. Holy smokes, she's like, I love her. Because that's what I say.
Keep fangirling over here?
Yes.
It's what we do.
As a leader and a business owner, that's exactly what you do. Hey, we're going to do this. You've given me some ideas, and here's why we're not going to do that. You explain it so that you can't get people to buy into what you're doing if you don't explain what you're doing and why you're doing it.
And even if they don't necessarily like what you're doing, they can respect you when you explain to them why you're doing what you're doing.
Well, and let's talk about 7-Eleven. I know you're running, and I don't want to sling you.
You
with
can
this,
ask me
but,
anything.
So, if I were on council, I would have voted to approve it.
I would not have, and I'll tell you why.
Okay, and my reason is it already went through the zoning and the land use plan that we've already paid to have done.
But it's inconsistent with the land use plan. Okay. When you look at the land use plan, that area is, and this is. I'm having the hardest time understanding where they get that it's consistent with the land use plan, because the land use plan is mixed use and it's high density residential, which means that you can either put more residential in there or you can come in with mixed use. That area.
What does mixed use mean?
Mixed use means that you can put in like an office building that has some other wraparound services in it. So it's not necessarily that you can't have commercial activity, but it's that you have
more like professional.
I understand. I'm just saying.
Or you can have a daycare.
Know.
Thank you for that.
Right.
Or you can put like a daycare. There's certain things that you do for a community that makes the community stronger. Affording them walkable opportunities to be able to get to employment options or to get to childcare options makes a huge difference. Putting a gas station there, again, it increases the corporate tax base, but it doesn't offer sustainable and meaningful employment.
So at the end of the day, if you own your own house, are you entitled to do with it what you want?
Well, here's the question. Let me ask you this question this way. You might have listened to it. I listened to it, and I heard the attorney for this development say that they were going to be putting a chain link fence around the retention or detention pond.
Right.
I immediately was like, are you kidding me? Because you can't even put up a chain link fence at your house. So how is it acceptable for a commercial development but not for a residential property owner?
Well, that is a good point. I think maybe that's just in the zoning
what
they allow.
That's
we are trying to redo the UDO. We know that the Unified Development Ordinance is bunk, and we need to make adjustments to make it more consistently applied. But
every time we do that, we're getting buy-in from the people that it benefits to reduce the standard. And I understand that you do want that buy-in, but there has to be some balance, Peter. And I think here, let me tell you what happened while I was sitting in a UDO when we were making some votes for about the UDO. I was sitting in my seat, and if you may recall, I sat at the very end on the far right side, my right. I was sitting in my seat, and there was a developer in the audience, and one of the council members who sat to my left, I won't tell you how far to my left, but close enough, sat to my left.
Everybody was on her left.
I was going to say if she's all the way.
But
right,
I won't be too specific. Right.
Say 3
Everybody
seats from the
was
left.
on my left.
Yeah,
but I observed during this conversation, we were talking. I think we were talking about trees. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. And during this conversation, I observed this council member lean forward over their desk and look out in the audience to the developer and mouth to I'm watching this happen, y'all. Yeah. Mouth to the developer. Is that what you wanted? Does that get done what you wanted to get done? That's what we can't have. It's one thing to get buy-in. It's another thing to consistently make decisions that benefit the people who benefit from the decisions you're making.
Okay. And I think they're trying to put some sunlight between council and the UDO revision by getting a consultant, which they love.
Another one?
Another one. Yeah, we love some consultants, man.
In this town, we sure do, and we pay them obscene.
A nice penny, don't we?
Yes.
And then we don't do what they tell us to do,
That's right.
as with the land use plan.
We just shelved it.
Right.
Okay, so my opinion was personal property right, land use plan agreement, and zoning commission. That basically the city council should be there to approve what they've tasked city management to do.
Right.
Well,
So
that was my take
but that
on it.
is the function
I
of a council management form of government. That's the function
I understand
of it.
your concerns with it. I did tell somebody on one of these threads, again, the keyboard warriors, I need to just scroll past. It's not worth it. But it was like, look, well, why didn't you buy the property then?
Well, because just because you don't have the money to buy the property doesn't mean you don't have an interest in it. Because you've got to remember that they did buy property. They bought their property that abuts that property. And when I agree with you. I do think that we're going to have to start coming together as residents, and we're going to have to start pooling our resources and buying up some of these tracts that we want to see developed the way we want to see them developed. That's going to require a different conversation.
It's a lot of not in my backyard stuff that happens, and I get it. But you got 3 corners already developed, and again, we're not going to get into the weeds on this.
But none of it really improves the plot. There's nothing. The whole purpose, according to the land use plan, is to bolster the community. A gas station just doesn't do that.
Make it more
and if you make
economically viable,
a land use plan,
follow the plan.
Why are we not following the plan?
Well,
and I think if
to my knowledge, they did at zoning level. So that's where.
But see, that's where we're not. And I'm going to say we because at this point I'm still a member of the community. That's where we're not getting a clear answer because nobody is coming out to us explaining how if this is consistent with the land use plan, why doesn't the land use plan have that? Where it shows that it should be zoned commercial, because that would have for me said, yeah, that's exactly what the land use plan intended.
Okay, well I'll go back and check my notes and I'll look. See, and I will go back and look. I won't just be yelling for no reason.
And I'll tell you this: I think when you look at it from the perspective of what I just shared, when I said even if you just be forthcoming. So if this is something that this council felt should happen. Be forthcoming about that from the beginning. Don't play politics. And I think what happened in this instance, a lot of people saw this board playing politics and they saw through it. This is one of the first times that I've actually seen the community see through it because they're not buying the position of some of the people who voted no. They're just not buying it.
3-7, wasn't it? Yeah.
Well, it was, but that's because somebody left and did not ask to be excused. Yeah. Right. Otherwise, it would have been 3-6, but it still would have passed.
But to me, the greatest thing that's happening these days, in my personal opinion, whether it's divisive or not, is people are really paying attention to politics.
They are paying attention.
It's almost like we need to have a moratorium on these things for 3 months before the election so we can get some honest answers.
But it's to me, people are seeing.
No, we can't do a zoning thing of this magnitude.
Right.
If it reaches more than 50 people showing up,
right? We got to put this on pause. Yeah.
But I'm very active on I'm not active on Facebook because I just read a lot. I don't necessarily post a lot. But I'm reading and I hear all these people complaining about this, complaining about that, and yet every year, or every 2 years, I guess, without fail. They reelect the exact same people with the exact same policies without changing a thing. You can't keep complaining and voting in the same. Take a chance on Tisha.
I don't think
Waddell.
that's going to happen this time. I think that people are invigorated this election cycle. And I keep telling Mr. Floyd this. I think that people are paying attention in a different way. And I think that people do want to see something different. I think that people are clear that something's just not right in the water and that something's a little off in the milk too. And so I believe that they're looking and they're saying we've got to do something different. And I do think that I stand out as a candidate for many people because of the fact that I didn't just start saying something's wrong because I wanted to run for office. I said something's wrong as I was walking away from my seat. I continued to say it all along. And here's what's interesting that nobody ever mentions, but I will today. I named names, and I made clear and concise statements. I have never received a cease and desist order, and I've never been sued. I have seen people be sued by some of these attorneys for less than what I did. And that should say something, and does say something to the members of our community.
Those of us that are paying attention.
We do have a couple watching. Pam Carter's on.
Hi, Miss Pam. I love her.
So,
Pam Carter is all over Facebook.
But she's tough. She's tough, and she's straight. And that is somebody who, in my first 2 terms as a city council person, she let me have it when I needed to have it. And so the fact that Pam actually stands with me and says, I think that we should elect her as mayor, to me says a lot, because she's no nonsense.
She's
Absolutely.
no nonsense and fearless.
And
so
even
welcome.
if she doesn't agree in a certain area, she's going to tell you. But
that's right.
That's the difference between.
And she'll still talk to you tomorrow.
Right.
That's
exactly
right.
right.
Yeah,
that's
right.
exactly right.
That's right.
Here, I don't agree, and here's
All
why.
Right. So, Tisha, I wasn't going to bring up Ghost of Christmas Past, but
go for it.
Okay, so when I ran council, it came up in a podcast I was interviewing on, and they said, "What do you think about the letter that Councilwoman Waddell?"
What did you think
out?
about it?
So, what I thought was, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Okay.
I just wanted to know where more of the fire was.
Okay.
That's all.
We all want to know where more of the fire is.
And as time went on, I thought, well, maybe. I did it again. I know
you did.
What did he do?
I said.
Oh, it's okay. It's all right. I know my name. It's okay. I am Tisha S. Waddell, candidate for mayor.
I'm looking right at you, ma'am. So
it's okay. Go ahead.
I felt like maybe as time went on, some things that maybe looked like maybe weren't, because as I've learned more government stuff, it's ugly, and there's a lot of moving parts that I think it takes a long time for any one person to forget mastering it. I think just having a reasonable working knowledge.
Well, let me say no, I disagree. And let me tell you why. Because anybody who can read well and comprehend, even if you don't know how it goes, you know how to figure out how it goes. And the city council is governed by it. We have rules.
Right.
And the rules say that the mayor is not the head or the leader of the council.
Right. And
that the mayor cannot do anything outside of the permission of the council. And you gain permission through a vote, through consensus, right? So when this conversation was going on with PwC, for the mayor to have been having conversations, and it's been documented and proven, City View Today did an excellent job substantiating this, for the mayor and his attorney to have been having conversations behind closed doors outside of the purview of the rest of the council, that is against our rules. You are violating the standards of the council. And so even if what you're talking about is all on the up and up, you talking about it outside of having a conversation with us is not.
When the mayor was speaking to the attorney, in what capacity was the attorney employed? Was he working on behalf of the city at that point, or behalf of the mayor's personal attorney?
That would be a question that you would have to ask the mayor that question. But I will tell you this, I know that he did not have any position in this conversation as far as the rest of the council was concerned. Correct.
Okay. All right.
Correct.
Well, yeah, and he's a frequent flyer, the attorney. I mean, he's very well known around here.
And
so
listen, I'll say, like Floyd says all the time, if I had a development deal that I was trying to get passed in this community, I would employ that attorney too, because he has a stellar record of success before the council. So, I mean, great job.
Yeah, no, excellent attorney. We're not questioning. It's just, I think these things
too much overlap.
They don't look right. And I've said before, how bad do you need that extra fee? Like, just recuse yourself. Stand away. Let another attorney do it. Put some sunlight in. So what was the other large thing from your letter that you...
Well, that was the biggest thing. Okay. I think also my experience with Dismissed Charities. Okay. And again, it's not the what, it's the how. Because this was a special use permit. And if you understand special use permit, that means that you are not permitted as a council member by law. You are not permitted to have a conversation with anybody
because
about
that's
that.
The quasi-judicial part of it.
Correct, which means that you are acting as a judge, essentially.
Right.
You have to make a determination. And you can't do that until you hear the evidence. And you can't be persuaded prior to that. Now, it is documented that the attorney was reaching out to us beforehand. He knows the law.
The attorney on behalf of Dismissed Charities.
Yes.
And to clarify, Dismissed Charities is the Fayetteville halfway house on Kane Road.
Correct.
Okay.
And it's the same attorney. So we're talking about the same attorney. He was reaching out to us to the point where our attorney at the time had to send him a reply and say, and I'm paraphrasing, please stop reaching out.
So he was lobbying essentially.
Well, I'm not gonna speak to what his intent was, but he was reaching out to us in reference to that.
In reference to something that was going to show as a quasi-judicial. Okay.
Correct. And there are allegations, which is again why I said we needed an external investigation with an agency that had subpoena authority, because there were allegations that he was having conversations with other council members outside of just those emails. And so as these things and as these things are happening, it distorts public trust, because the public is supposed to have confidence in us to adhere to our own rules. And when you don't see that happening, how do you trust your governing body? So it's not always, Peter, that something is wrong or nefarious that they're trying to do. It's that you're violating the policy of how to do it, and that's when it becomes wrong and nefarious.
And it's not like you all are not taught the procedure in I mean, you're oriented a
and
little
we're
bit.
reminded.
And
we're reminded when these things come
attorney,
up. Right.
This is what you can talk about, or this is how far you can take it. So it's not like it's a big mystery where the rules are, where the lines are. Okay.
But the issue, and you'll hear this even, and this is why it's so interesting to me. I love the fact that we've got 10 people running right now, because most of the ones that are on council currently are saying what I've been saying for the last 5 years. And so I'm very happy about that, because it lends credibility to the fact that I was not just some disgruntled girl who was upset with the mayor and wanted the spotlight. I was so disinterested in the spotlight, I walked away. I walked away. I was interested in preserving the integrity of the process that our citizens elected us to serve them through. And I remain as such. And so that's why I think I'm garnering a lot of support in this election cycle.
Do you not find it strange that prior to the new running for office of the mayor, nobody was saying anything about all of this, and now all of a sudden they're running for mayor and they're pointing out all the stuff that Tisha, with a T, has been saying all along? I mean, to me, that's like the people that are running for office are following whom? Tisha.
Okay,
so who is?
But I've always been a leader.
That's exactly right.
Well, because two out of the 10 were named in her letter.
Right, so. But I'm just saying. So now we know who the leader is, who has been out in front of this the entire time, and so.
And I'll give credit. There is one person, and I don't say names because I was taught, early on in my political journey that you don't give people free airtime. That's right. But I will say that there is one person who is running who was not named because they were not on council, but they mimic a lot of what I'm saying. So they are substantiating what I've been saying. And I'm just like,
as far as the wrongdoing?
Yes. Okay. And as far as the culture that's been created of subserviency to the mayor.
Yeah.
Right. And it's one thing to honor a person in their position, but it's another thing to give them a false position. And a mayor's just a figurehead.
Well, I was going to say, the mayor's true duty is a figurehead.
Just a figurehead.
And a tiebreaker, really.
That's it. And they set the agenda, which is a big deal.
It is a big deal.
It's a big deal, but they are not the person whom you have to yield your authority to because they say they want something done. And unfortunately, that's the culture that's been created, and I'm here to break that culture.
So how do you feel scrolling Facebook? This is one that it always gets me.
Yes.
I bet X lined his pockets with that, or Y.
So I don't make those accusations only because I try not to accuse anything that I don't believe can be substantiated. But I will say this: when I first came on council, Kathy told me follow the money. She did, yes. And when she told me that, and I was green, right? I was new. When she told me that, it didn't hit quite as hard as it did once I was into my second term. But just follow the money, and not necessarily the money that the city is putting out, but follow the money.
Like who when benefits, yes.
Think about these deals that were made with Muhammad Construction. Who really benefited from that? Why would we take such a big risk with a proverbial?
So Muhammad, that is a special case, and I always try to tell people.
He was his own bond writer.
No, but he falsified bonds.
He did, absolutely. Well, he also, this is the thing, too. Nobody from the city said, hey, let's go take that guy to lunch. Let's just go meet him in his office, because if they did, they would have seen Suite A, Muhammad, and Suite B, the bond.
But, sir, he was a contributor to campaigns.
Was he? Okay.
So, I mean, I guess when you look at these campaign reports and you see whose campaigns he contributed to, and that's the thing, people don't understand that process of looking to see who are you getting follow the money. Who are you getting your money from? And so as these allegations of him contributing to campaigns are being made and substantiated by people going and pulling these campaign reports, the question begs to be answered, who lobbied for him? And how did they lobby so hard that we let this unknown character come into our community, get multi-million-dollar projects, and then bond himself, and nobody...
Nobody thought to look. Where is the homework being done on
well, and
any
that's
of
why
this?
I think the city has now hired. You can correct me, but I think they
Another
have hired.
consultant.
But why
No,
was that position vacant to begin with?
That's a good question.
In a community that's doing all of this work, economic development work, why was that position vacant in the first? Who? This is the question I'm asking.
What's the name?
Who
of
do
it?
you report? I can't remember
I can't remember the
right
role's
now.
name either. Yeah.
But who do you report to? So if you've got an org chart and you've got your city manager and then you've got his directors and then you've got his director's staff. And when you're talking about this particular position that we're talking about, the director is missing. So you've got the city manager and then staff. Who is this staff reporting to? Are they coming straight to the city manager? Are they reporting to another director? What's the chain of command? Like, there's all these unanswered questions that...
I thought they were pretty clear it was an institutional failure. Like, there was... Because I tried...
How convenient.
Yeah, but you have to be clear. Once we're all telling you it's a failure, you have to be clear.
You got to fix it. But... And that's where, like, when I see on Facebook the X line their pockets or Y, I'm like, do you realize how many people that had to go through a contract to be approved? I mean, yeah.
Do you know how many people listen in this form of government? And this is not an accusatory thing, but I just want people to think about this. When you're talking about a manager council form of government, my experience when I was on council was that the two people that we hired had to keep their jobs. They had to be able to keep their jobs, right? So Mr. Crisp used to always say to me, who, by the way, was my mentor, who did a fabulous job, I must say. He would always say to me, and I've heard other council members say this because he said it to all of us, don't be so busy trying to keep your job that you don't do your job. And so sometimes when you have these forms of government, look across our state at how many city managers are resigning from or being walked out of their jobs. Because there's a culture that starts to rise up that makes you go into self-preservation mode where you do what you need to do. And I'm not accusing our city manager. I just want you to understand this culture. You do what you need to do in order to keep your job. So when you look at your city manager and your city attorney and you say, look at how many people this has to go through,
it doesn't have to go through that many.
It doesn't really have to.
It still could end up, buck stops here at the top, and they could be influenced.
And when you have a board, I will never forget my first term in office. I was called into a meeting in an attorney's office, and this was probably within my first couple of months in my first term, and that attorney looked at me, and I thought I was just going to, do the standard meet and greet. And he essentially, again, I'm paraphrasing, he said to me, we've done a lot of work to try and get black contractors to be able to have some capacity in this community. And if you can't get on board with that, we can just find somebody else who can. So that said to me two things.
That doesn't seem like should be... But okay.
But this is the conversation that was said to me, and I keep good records, so I can tell you the date and the time that it was said. Okay.
I love your smile when you're getting ready to say.
I do. I keep great records, and I keep them all over the place. Okay. So you can't even come to my house and get them. But I keep good records. But that said to me two things. First of all, it said stay away from this person. So that was the last meeting that they ever had with me and the last audience they ever had with me. It also said to me, when I started seeing things unfold, I said, okay, that's why you're moving the way you are. That's why y'all are moving the way you are, because this person's influence matters to you and you're concerned about this type of a threat. Right. So by inference, I began to understand the culture of the way that our city council functioned.
How many terms were you on council?
2 terms.
So you did
whatever. I did 4 years.
4 years
and let me
plus.
tell you why.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. Because remember when COVID came and we had the census that was delayed, and our election cycle was delayed by a few months. I actually served both of my terms to completion.
Okay.
By the time I resigned from council, I had completed 2 years of service.
Okay.
So I did what I signed up for.
So you resigned in the OT part.
You got it. You got it. I didn't play overtime.
Okay. Well, I was wondering why they were at because I ran in that cycle. It's like, why are they asking me about this? I don't know. But I tried to spent it as best I could.
You should have said call Tisha.
Yeah, it was pretty much like I'd like to hear more from her. That was it. Because when you resigned, I was like, is that a good move? But as I've gotten involved, I'm like, yeah.
It was the best move. Let me tell you why. Because if I would have kept saying this while I was in office, I would have just been a noisy girl that the mayor would have continued to be able to say, she just wants my job. Because that was the presupposition that he kept putting out there. She just wants my job. And so when I stepped away, and I had no intention of ever coming back politically. I'm back because truly this is a purpose walk and a faith walk, not because I've been sitting in the corner waiting on my shot.
Bored.
Because I've been having a great life.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it was the best move ever because nobody would have known because they would have tuned it out. But everybody had to take note and pay attention, including agencies that are currently investigating some of the claims that were made in my letter.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did the best thing because it was the thing that God told me to do. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd do it all over again.
Okay.
Yeah, I stand 10 toes down on that one.
10 toes. All right.
What else you got before our time expires?
You launched the Community Voices Leadership Program.
I did.
And you supported the creation of Fayetteville Next.
I did.
How do you plan to expand civic engagement, especially for younger residents, in a city where public forum discussions have highlighted youth engagement and safety concerns?
So I think what we really need to do is find out, and this was the original, I thought, intent for the Millennial Advisory Committee, which is now Fayetteville Next. I think we need to ask them what they want to do in their community. I think we always come up with these ideas and say, this is what I want to do, or I want to ask our youth, how do you want to be involved? And then as we have those conversations, and I don't mean just the youth that are the ones that I'm doing air quotes, that we call the good kids. I want to get out there and talk to all kind of young people. I want to continue, not get out because I already been out, continue those conversations and see, where do you feel you fit, and how can we best leverage your insight and your experience? And then I want to make sure that we're working as a council to support those opportunities for them.
Yeah.
I also I'm going to tell you one of the things I think would be really engaging. I want to go into some of these youth homes where the kids are, where they might feel like nobody really cares about them or everybody's written them off. And I want to go and sit with them, and I want to see, why are you in the situation you're in? Tell me your story. Let's talk about it. And let's see how when you come out of here, how we can support making sure that you don't end up back in here. Because I think we keep talking around situations, and we don't go and talk to the people that are in the situations. And if we do that, we get a different vantage point. I was a broke single mom, y'all. So I understand broke single mom problems, but I've never been an at-risk youth. So I don't know what that looks like unless I go and sit down and talk with the at-risk youth and find out what's really up.
As a mother of an at-risk youth who ended up being murdered, I will say that would have, because he felt
like nobody was listening.
Nobody was listening. And Mom, you can't help me. I can't get a good job. Mom, I can't do this because I have, these issues. And that's not true.
Can you imagine if the mayor of your city would have gone to your son and said, tell me what's up. Let's talk about it.
Right.
And not approach them as a project, but go to them as a person. Let's talk about it.
Well, too much of that happens during the election cycle and gets dropped.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
During the and so
That's why I'm not participating in any of that. I'm not playing any of those games.
And you shouldn't. And you don't need to. You have a name here.
Thank you.
But I always
all right.
felt like people grandstand a little bit in the campaign, and I always feel like your campaign never ends as a local elected.
That's right.
Your job is to be in the community. Your job is to go to those community watches, as you've done as a citizen.
That's right.
You don't need the title.
That's right.
So you participate or get out of the way.
And to create opportunities to engage with people that you usually don't engage with. Like one of the things that I did that I want to do more of, we had the community social. And the community social, Bridging the Gap, we had 300 people show up at E. Smith High School, and we talked about the stuff that's going on. You don't have to do that, honey. I'm okay. We talked about the stuff that's going on in our community, and we talked about it in a low-pressure environment, and we gave people access to resources. And when we did that, the response was phenomenal, and it wasn't a Tisha thing. I engaged the community to put on the community social. And the people came out because they wanted to be involved with that conversation.
Right.
I want to do more of that because these old stagnated like the stuff that we've been doing is outdated. It's not really giving us the results that we want it to give us. We need to try something different.
That's what I said. Go to these communities where they are doing things that work and say, what did you do? And take some of those things and bring them back here. That's exactly right. Nobody does that. But they hire a consultant to tell you what to do, and they don't do it.
Well, we're gonna see if we can vote Tisha Waddell in to be the consultant.
You said
for
it
the
right.
mayoral race. I'm trying to.
Consult for the mayoral race.
You're gonna consult what the mayor needs to do. So, Tisha, how can we find out more about your campaign or about you?
Sure.
How can people find you?
Visit my website.
And donate.
Please donate. Yes.
So let me say this. Visit my website, Tisha, T-I-S-H-A-S, like Samuel, Waddell, WADDELL.com. It's not really Samuel, but you get it. TishaSWaddell.com. That's my website. You can also find me on social media, Tisha S. Waddell for Mayor. That's on TikTok. My daughter keeps my TikTok page up, Facebook and Instagram. And you can also email me, TishaFayForward@gmail.com. You ask about donations. I am funding our campaign. My husband and I have decided to self-fund our campaign because we don't want anybody thinking that somebody owns us. So that's what it is.
Well, with that.
I knew that. That's why I wanted to
You
ask.
knew that. Okay, well, our 60 minutes is up.
Yay.
I appreciate y'all being here. Mrs. Laura Musler, thank you for being my co-host this
Thank you
evening.
guys for having me. Thank
Tisha
you.
Waddell, it's so
You got
nice
it.
to have you in my studio for a change.
Thank you, sir.
So to our audience, I hope you'll do us a favor and visit our commercial sponsors and let them know you heard their message right here on the Carolina Cabinet. If you do somehow miss an episode of our top-rated show,
Top rated.
thank you. You can find us on your favorite podcast broadcaster, Apple, Spotify, Google, or Audible. We're kind of everywhere, so please just come on. It's 2025. You know how to find us. So look for us at thecarolinacabinet.com. There you can find all of our videos and links. We appreciate you tuning in. Until next time, we are
The Carolina Cabinet.
Whoop, whoop.